What's up guys, this is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about personal development for INFJs and how to create an epic life on your terms. Today we're talking about the harsh but empowering INFJ reality break. Somebody of you asked me to do an entire video on this topic because I've been talking about this forever, but always as like a little byproduct of my story. Okay, after I had my reality break, then this happened and I was able to achieve so many of my goals, but he wanted to know more about the reality break itself because it's something that brings so many INFJs to their knees. It changes everything. It really is our safety cushion that just falls away. And I've experienced this while talking to many INFJs over the years that yes, maybe not everybody calls it a reality break, but it's a turning point and it's something that none of us expect could happen to such an extent. It's really a psychological breakdown that makes room for everything new to come. And so many of us experience that, and so many of us get stuck at that place, or maybe shortly before that, because the fear of what it will mean to cross that boundary is just too big. Or once they take that leap and once they go through it, they feel like, okay, this is just so hard and I've lost everything and I might just stay here because, how can it get any better? I've lost all my dreams. Today I'm going to talk to you how you can change that, how you can make that reality break the best thing that ever happened to you, because we as INFJs look at it from a very particular perspective. For us, it's so much more than a little ego loss. It has everything to do with the way we see the world and the way we see ourselves within that world. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you want to take the next step in creating your INFJ epic life and you want my help with the process, then work with me one-on-one. All the information you find in the link in the description. For the longest time, I've been talking about my reality break, my INFJ reality break, and that this was something that shattered my entire world, that it was something that I never expected, but I also never talked about what it entailed and how it made me feel and what actually changed. So my so-called INFJ reality break happened 7-8 years ago. It was definitely before I started this channel, and it was the catalyst that made all of this happen. At this moment, I had to give up a part of myself. I had to look in the mirror and recognize that I'm not the person that I thought I was, and it was extremely painful because for the longest time, I was trying to hide that part of myself. That part that I thought is unlovable, that people cannot respect, admire, or like at any capacity. There's no way. And so I hid this for the longest time. And when you do this, you make your world extremely small. The problem with all of this is that when we're in it, we're not aware of it. We're not aware that there's so much that hasn't been tapped into by us. It's the typical thing that when you think of an INFJ who wants to incorporate their dark side, when you say, I'm not going to project that on the outside anymore, I'm going to allow that part back into me, I'm going to make myself whole. Jung talks about this a lot in detail. I don't remember exactly how he calls it. I'll probably give the wrong name, but it's bringing that part of you, the yin to your yang, that sort of thing that you don't allow within you, that you always project onto other people or into society, into your environment, to allow that back in so you become whole, and then life gets a new meaning. And that's exactly what I experienced. At that moment, I was in a situationship that I tried to fix so much. Because on one occasion, I acted out of self-defense and I didn't act like in the most kind way. And afterwards, that action was something that I was punished with over and over again. And that moment, my biggest concern was, how can I convince that person that I didn't have bad intentions, that I have a good soul, that I just want the best for everybody? And I pretty much wrecked myself over this because at that moment I didn't understand that I had another choice. It felt like that person is suffering. I can see that. I can help that person. There's nobody left. It's on me to make that happen. And at the same time, whatever that person thought of me had such an effect on me. And we as INFJs know this to be true. We want to believe that we're self-sufficient. We want to believe that we have a clear head on our shoulders. We know what we're about, but situations like this show you that on some level, you're still looking on the outside to give you a feeling of appreciation. So how is that connected to the reality break? The reality break that happens is when we get to a point where we understand no matter what I do, I won't be able to convince that person that I'm good, that I have a certain skill, that I have the best intentions, or whatever it may be. When you've given it your all, and you still get beaten down. Because then you have to look at your life and say, okay, there is a cognitive dissonance here. There is something about how I think the world works and how it actually works that doesn't fit together. That's when the reality break happens. That's when you have to re-examine the way you see the world, the way you see yourself within that world, and it breaks down everything. Because when you get to a point where you have two conflicting beliefs that just don't make sense anymore, something is going to break. Something is going to change. Your mind just cannot handle those two different worldviews. There has to be some kind of meaning behind it. And at that moment you say, okay, apparently I have to fight for myself now. Apparently I have to start believing in myself and I have to choose me. And if that means that people are going to see certain parts of me that I don't want them to see and that they will dislike them, then I still have to do that because I'm in a survival mode here. I cannot stand at this place. That was when I had a reality break. I remember I was sitting on my couch. I was listening to music for probably half a year. I was still going to work and everything, but in my free time, I did absolutely everything to escape from reality. I remember at that time, I lived with my best friend and she came home and it was just dreadful, the fact that I had to get off my music and I had to participate in real life. So this is something that a lot of INFJs experience in their own way. And it's so scary because of the emotional floodgates that open up. Because once you say, okay, I'm not going to allow this, I have to fill this space up, I have to choose me, there is no other way, you start showing those parts of you that you didn't want others to see. The fact that you can be selfish, which of course in the end is just self-love, but you being selfish, you choosing yourself, the fact that you're strong, that you're cold inside in many ways, which we INFJs are very often. It doesn't mean that you can't be empathetic or that you can't love others, but we have this power within us, this power that is really straightforward and that allows us to be above emotions, to allow all of these things that make us strong and that give us the power to sustain so much pain over the years that now we're going to use to thrive. To tap into those things. And at that moment, it feels like, okay, now that I show everybody that part of me, nobody's ever going to love me the way they did before. And the truth is, they won't. Because the way they loved you before, if they did, was always based on dependency. It was what you could do for them. They needed you. Because of you, they had a good life. There was always this dependency, and it's a safety net because it's a completely different kind of courage to stand up and to say, I love myself and I want others to love, respect me, and want to be around me because of who I am and not because of what I do for them. There's this quote that I read probably 10 years ago and I didn't understand it at all and I didn't like it, and now it makes total sense. It was, I want people to love me because I love myself. And I was like, what kind of selfish thing is that? Why would somebody love you for the way you love yourself? People should love you for the way you love them. Now I understand it, because now it is about the way I live my life that is supposed to inspire others to love themselves. So yes, people will not love you in the way they did, in this dependent, passionate, toxic way. They will love you in a way that is freeing, that is much less dependable, and it is way less intense. But it's like, you don't need that. You don't need the intensity. You don't need all of those things that you thought you needed before, because now you get to fill that space up by yourself. Something most of us have never done before. And if you dare to take that step, you will be rewarded like you couldn't imagine. Remember, if you want my help with this transitional phase or with anything else, then work with me one-on-one. All the information you find in the link below. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video of the unbroken INFJ. Like always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.